Well, welcome to Truth and Fertility. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Haley. I work at an OBGYN clinic where I teach women and couples how to chart their fertility cycles so that they can either achieve or avoid pregnancy, but also so that they can manage their fertility. And so today I really wanted to just take a step back and talk about charting your cycle and the methods we can use to do that. Because in a lot of my videos, I talk about fertility awareness methods, natural family planning, and I kind of throw out these terms, but I haven't sat down to really organize and go through what those methods are, the different types of methods that you can use to chart your cycle, the ones that I teach, the ones that I'm more familiar with. I wanted to just share all of that information with you today in a really concise list so that if you are interested in charting your cycle, which I know a lot of you are because I've heard from you and I know that you're wanting to jump on this journey of charting your cycle. So that's my plan for today, is just to list out in a very organized way for you the types of family planning, types of charting, and how to use them. Okay, so there are mainly three different types, kind of overarching umbrellas of natural family planning or fertility awareness-based methods. I interchange those words a lot because they're kind of one and the same. Natural family planning, fertility awareness-based methods, you look it up and they're the same methods. They're just two different ways of saying it. So there are three main types of NFP that one can use to chart your cycle. So the first one that I'm going to go over are called ovulation methods. So ovulation methods are methods that only look at cervical mucus. I have talked a lot about cervical mucus in these videos. If you want to learn more about how you can look at your cervical mucus and why that has anything to do with your fertility, I do have a video all about that I'll link in the description below. But cervical mucus is like the tried and true way to check for your fertility. And it is pretty much the biomarker or the sign that a woman's body gives that pretty much every single method across the board uses. And so these ovulation methods, the first umbrella term, are methods that only look at cervical mucus to determine your fertile window of when a woman is fertile and when she's infertile throughout her cycle. So some examples of these ovulation methods are going to be the Billings method, Family of the Americas, and the Creighton method. These are the main three that I know of. Also, just quick caveat, there's no way that this is an exhaustive list of all the methods out there. So I'll put some more links down below of places that you can look for other methods as well. But these are the ones that I'm most familiar with, the ones that I know other instructors who teach these methods. So ovulation methods, I know of Billings, Family of the Americas, and the Creighton model. The one that I teach of this category is the Creighton model. So the Creighton model was actually built off of the research that the Billings method has, and it is more of a quote unquote medical method. So in some of my videos, I've talked about NAPRO technology or doctors that train and work specifically with natural family planning charts to heal their clients of any reproductive issues. And so oftentimes the Creighton method is the one that they're going to use. So the Creighton model is the one that I teach. That's the one I'm most familiar with. But like I said, there are other ovulation methods as well. And these, again, are only looking at cervical mucus. Now, the next umbrella of methods are going to be the sympto-thermal methods. So these methods will use cervical mucus. Again, like I said, that biomarker is pretty much across the board what is used. But sympto-thermal methods are cross-check methods. So they also use your temperature to help identify that fertile window. And this can be really, really helpful. Cross-check methods can give women a whole lot more confidence in using the natural family planning system because you're using more information to find your fertile window, right? Rather than just the ovulation methods where it's just looking at cervical mucus. So for women who choose cross-check methods, it's oftentimes because they want that extra check. They want that extra confidence to know exactly when their fertile window is. Not to say that ovulation methods can't accurately determine that. They absolutely can. But again, this is just for women that want to check something else in addition to their cervical mucus. So with Sympto-Thermal Methods, the main addition that we use to look for a woman's fertile window is going to be her waking temperature. So the waking temperature means just whenever a woman wakes up in the morning, she takes her temperature with a basal body thermometer. It's a little bit of a different thermometer than the regular one that you probably have in your cabinet right now. This is a thermometer that goes to the 100th degree, and it's just a lot more accurate for the sake of family planning. Still, you can find it anywhere, Amazon, CVS, Walgreens, whatever. But they use a basal body thermometer, and you take your waking temperature. So you're waking up at the same time every morning to look at your temperature. When your temperature begins to rise, that's usually an indication that progesterone is rising in your body. Progesterone is a thermogenic hormone, which means that it is going to actually cause your body temperature to rise. And progesterone normally doesn't rise until after ovulation happens. So for women who take their temperatures, they can actually pinpoint the time of ovulation, or at least confirm that they have ovulated or that some sort of ovulatory event has occurred once they start to see that temperature rise. So the temperature doesn't necessarily help us figure out the beginning of the fertile window, because of the fact that your temperature is still going to be fairly low at that point. Progesterone has not played its part yet. And so that's where cervical mucus comes into play, because that really can show you where the fertile window begins. But the temperature can really help figure out where that fertile window truly ends, because when you see that temperature rise, it can confirm, okay, I am past ovulation. I'm not going to ovulate again this cycle. And so I know that for the remainder of this cycle, I'm completely infertile, because if there's no ovulation, there's no egg. And if there's no egg, there's no baby. So those are the main two signs that a sympto-thermal method will look at. Sometimes they'll also throw in sensation, which is just basically a mental awareness of a general feeling in the vaginal area throughout the day. So you may just feel completely dry. You may feel kind of moist or lubricative in that area. And that can also play a part of determining your fertility. And then to add in a fourth one, which is completely optional, but there also is a cervix check in the Sympto-Thermal method. And so this cervix check is actually an internal exam. So some women are totally comfortable with this and some women aren't. Totally fine. That's why it's optional. But the cervix check can also help determine your fertility, because your cervix throughout your cycle will rise and it will fall. It'll become more hard or more soft, and then it'll also open and close at different times of your cycle. So you would be feeling, again, it's an internal exam through the vaginal canal, and you would be feeling for your cervix to figure out where it's at in those characteristics to help you figure out your fertility. So examples of the Sympto-Thermal method are going to be Sympto-Pro, which is a company that provides the Sympto-Thermal method as a resource for NFP, and also Couple to Couple League. Couple to Couple League is unique in that they only teach couples the Sympto-Thermal method, and it's taught by couples. So in order to teach with the Couple to Couple League, you have to be teaching as a married couple. And then in order to learn how to chart with Couple to Couple League, you do have to be a couple. So usually an engaged couple looking to get married and use this in their marriage, or an already married couple who is wanting to take this on. The one that I teach of the Sympto-Thermal methods is from Sympto-Pro. So Sympto-Pro does teach single women, couples, and to be an instructor, you can be a single woman or you can be a couple teaching it. And so this is the method that I've been teaching for almost about 6 years now. And I've been teaching the Creighton method for almost a year now. So I have different experience in both of those. Those are the two methods that I personally am trained to teach. Now, the third umbrella of natural family planning or fertility awareness-based methods are going to be sympto-hormonal methods. These are also cross-check methods, meaning that they're looking at cervical mucus, but you're also using other signs to determine your fertility. And so the main other sign that a sympto-hormonal method is going to use is either an LH strip, so a strip that you would pee on, and it tells you where your LH levels are, which is your luteinizing hormone. This hormone spikes right at the time of ovulation. So when you start to see it spike, that can really clue you in to when ovulation is happening in your cycle. So there's also the clear blue monitor. That's one that's used that can test LH, but it also tests your estrogen levels. And your estrogen levels will start to rise right prior to ovulation. And so that's how we can use these hormonal, it's called a sympto-hormonal method because of the fact that they're testing hormones, usually from pee, and it can help you figure out where you're at in your cycle as well. So is it still using cervical mucus? Yes. Again, like I said, this is across the board what we use. But Sympto-Hormonal Methods also use those hormone strips or the clear blue monitor to monitor your fertility hormones. Now, also some of them will throw in the temperature as well, and some of it will throw in sensation as well. So these are all kind of cross-check methods that use different biomarkers to determine the fertile window. And so some of these sympto-hormonal methods are going to be Boston cross-check, which is a fairly new method if I am not mistaken, and also the Marquette method. The Marquette method, I have so many people asking me about the Marquette method. I feel like it's the new go-to method, especially for moms who are breastfeeding. I've heard Marquette is amazing to use while you're breastfeeding and you're kind of looking for that first ovulation to come after you've had a baby. So the Marquette method, the unique thing about that method is that you actually have to be a nurse or something higher up in the medical realm, but at least a nurse to teach it. So it's taught by medical professionals, which I think is awesome. And so that can give a lot of confidence also to women and couples who are wanting to use that method as well. So again, the two that I know of in the sympto-hormonal method are the Boston cross-check method and the Marquette method. One last thing to say before I sign off for today. Notice that all of these methods are not apps. Okay, so many people want an app, which is fine. I have a whole video on apps. I'll put it in the link below as well. I have a love-hate relationship with apps. An app that tells you, or that has an algorithm that tells you when you are fertile and when you are infertile is not a method in and of itself. A method is one that you are working with an instructor to learn how to do. You have your own mental capital into it, right? You are not just relying on an app to tell you when you're fertile and infertile. And also to take a step back for a second, why would we entrust, like one of the most important decisions of parenthood, why would we entrust that decision to an app? Maybe an app that we even got for free. Like, why are we entrusting an app to tell us when we can become pregnant or not? Anyways, I am going to stop myself from going on a rant there. But an app in and of itself is not a method. A method, a true family awareness-based method, is one that you work with an instructor who teaches you how to chart so that you and your husband or fiance can then go forth and use the method correctly. It is so, so important that you work with an instructor, at least in the very beginning, to learn how to use a method, whatever one you're using. And that really gives you confidence to make sure that you are doing it correctly instead of just relying on an app to tell you when you can get pregnant and when you can't. They're also most times wrong. Now, an app that you want to use as a supplement to the whatever method that you've learned properly, totally fine. Let's say you've learned a method and then you want to use an app instead of a regular paper chart to write down what you're seeing every day. Good to go. An app in and of itself, not a method, but a method that you've learned and are now inputting what you've learned and what you are seeing into an app to help you just track it on an app instead of paper, totally fine. So that's my little caveat there. But those are the three main types of natural family planning. So again, we have the ovulation methods, we have the sympto-thermal methods, and the sympto-hormonal methods. All of these methods across the board pretty much have around the same efficacy rates, and it's really just whatever method best works for your lifestyle. So for example, women who work night shifts or they work odd hours, right, and they don't get up at the same time every morning, the symptothermal methods are probably not going to be the best for you because of the fact that the symptothermal methods require that you wake up around the same time every morning to take your temperature. So that would be an example of maybe a reason why you wouldn't choose a symptothermal method, but you're choosing an ovulation method or a sympto-hormonal method, right? Another example would be for women who really want that cross check. They don't just want to focus on cervical mucus, but they also want just cross checks, right? To help them have confidence in what they're seeing, what they're looking at. The symptothermal methods or sympto-hormonal methods may be the best ones for you. Maybe you are having some reproductive issues or some hormonal imbalances and you want to work with a doctor to figure those out and to get those healed. The Creighton method is probably going to be the best for you, which is an ovulation method because of the fact that it is a more medical method. It's a method that doctors use to heal and treat and even diagnose women with reproductive disorders or issues. So there's plenty of reasons to choose one over the other. There's no best method. It's just whatever comes across your way, whatever is easiest for you to learn, maybe even for the time being, whatever is cheapest for you to learn, because it is an investment to learn these as well. So just to keep all of that in mind, there's no best one. It's just whatever best works for your lifestyle. So thank you for sticking around with me today. I hope that just gave you a good organized list of just the different types of methods that you can use, which ones may work better for your lifestyle. If you use a different method that I have not listed, because again, this is not an exhaustive list at all. If you use a different method, please put that method down in the comments below, and it would inform me on different types of methods to look into as well, and inform others of the different other methods that are out there too. So thanks again for sticking with me, and I will see you guys again next week.